morning, dear people of the internet, and welcome to Girl Troubles, basically. This is the second installment in a row of Aiden Goes Unscripted on Reddit, and I promise after this there will be scripts again. But I thought it would be fun to go through the subreddit r/Girldinnerdiaries, where people post a picture of what they're eating and then explain some trouble they are having. Before we get into all of that, I have a very short public service announcement. I have this very delusional plan of this channel helping me through college and beyond, and you can help me with that for free, luckily, by subscribing and watching my videos. So thank you for that. Now let's get started. The first post I found on here is called "My 2-year-old having chores is sending my family into a tizzy." And their food looks absolutely amazing, featuring some amazing pastries from a local bakery, an eclair, a tiramisu tart, and a strawberry cake. My family is in an absolute tizzy over the fact that my 2-year-old son has chores, and it's been the most comical thing I think I've ever experienced as a parent so far. He has 3 chores. Laundry. He has to put his clothes away and helps me do his laundry by helping me put the clothes into the washer and swapping from the wash to the dry. Picking up his toys twice a day, once before nap time and once before bed. Dishes. He helps me unload the dishes. I was raised in a no-chores household, and it was pretty horrible since nobody did anything. The house was constantly dirty, and my husband was raised in a very traditional family structure where men didn't clean. Both sides think we're just absolutely insane for having chores for such a young little man. We went to dinner, and even my brother-in-law and sister-in-law had thoughts and were not quiet about them. My husband and I are very happy with the structure we have with our son and will have with our second child to be born next week. Ooh, that's great for them. We both just kind of shrugged and told them they can raise their own children in their own way, which, by the way, I've seen and I'm not very impressed by. I love being the black sheep and changing the toxic environments we're both raised in. I love this. I think these are not chores. Yeah, well, there are chores, but you need to do them in your adult life as well, I guess, which is the thing with chores. But these are just small things that teach responsibility and about clean space without having the pressure of now you have to do your chores. So I absolutely love this. I also think it's great to change the things you didn't like about how you were raised when they make sense, like this dirty house or like traditional gender roles with the men doing absolutely nothing in the household. I both disagree with that. So I think this is awesome, and I am happy that they could just shrug and be like, yeah, just raise your children your own way. So that's great. The top comment says, "The best part is that your kid probably doesn't see it as chores and sees it as helping mommy." And then the OP said 100% he absolutely loves helping. I think it also helps that my husband also helps with a lot of cleaning and other things around the house. So he sees both of us working together to make sure it all gets done. He's just a part of the process. I just feel like if you're just naturally wanting to contribute to the household and help everyone be happy, and you know that this is the thing that makes people happy, it's just great. And being taught that from a very young age is amazing. So kudos to this person, and I hope they enjoy their cakes. This next post is called "Blown Away by European Doctor's Visit Cost." It's in the section Rant and Ramble, and it's in the subreddit's rules that you have to write down what your meal is so people can know. And the meal is chicken thighs, potatoes and veggies all cooked in my fancy new air fryer. About 2 months ago, me and my husband made the leap and moved to Germany. I personally am a German citizen and grew up here, but I spent the last 18 years living in the US. Last summer I tested positive for HPV and was told I needed to make sure to get an annual pap smear done. I found a gynecologist here in the town I live in and scheduled an appointment for today. I went to the appointment as a new patient, but also self-paying, so I was prepared to pay a couple €100 out of pocket. When I had testing and exams done last year at PP, I paid about $500 out of pocket, so that was an experience I was expecting again. I'm speaking to the doctor and we talk about my family history of breast cancer. He asked if I ever had a breast cancer ultrasound done, and I said no. He recommended considering doing one. Not pushy at all, but just as a precaution. I do have really bad health anxiety and decided to do a breast ultrasound and a vaginal ultrasound because why not? I'm already there in addition to my pap smear. My appointment takes about an hour with 2 ultrasounds and a pap smear. I go to the receptionist and prepare to pay. She hands me the bill and I almost shat myself right there and then when I saw the number owed, €220. Exchange is about $255. I literally had to ask her if she had everything correct on the bill. She was visibly confused and was like, "Yes, that is correct." Me, "Oh, okay then." I left the doctor's office and just stood outside for a few minutes in shock. I could not believe that was all that was. Living in the US for the last 18 years, accessible and affordable healthcare has always felt so out of reach. For my husband to add me to his insurance through his job, it was going to be $900 a month. $900 a month. So I just didn't have health insurance in the US. I don't know, I'm just flabbergasted about this experience and angry that this is a possibility for healthcare to be affordable and accessible, even for those who are self-paying, when it's not treated like a money-making scam. It's been a few hours since my appointment and I'm still just trying to wrap my head around it. I honestly find this quite expensive as a European myself. I live in the Netherlands. I don't know anything about German healthcare structures, but the rule here is that you have to have health insurance, which will cost you about 160 euros at the very least. However, there are subsidies from the state, so if you make below a certain amount, you can get up to 120, I believe, euros a month to cover that, so then it's only like 40, 50 euros a month for yourself, which is already bad because there was a time a few years ago where your subsidy from the state could be more than what you're paying, and that would be allowed. So that was already a thing. Before everything is covered, you have to pay. There's a word for that. I forgot the word. That you have to pay up to 385 euros. It's now a year, and after that, everything is free except for like a very few things. And I feel like this person is not insured. When I look at the bills for my insurance to see what I would have had to pay if I was not insured, it's also around that much. So I guess that's the case. But it's just that health insurance is absolutely mandatory here. Like, you can get fined if you don't have health insurance. So I don't know. I still find it a little bit much. I have seen things happening from the States. Most comments here that I can see now are saying that they find the 220 euros expensive as well from other Europeans. I saw another comment that says that they had a baby in the NICU and had to pay over $2 million for that, and that's abhorrent. I've seen more things about the healthcare system in the UK. Having to pay just hundreds of dollars for just a single doctor's visit is insane. I cannot say anything else about it. I'm happy this person could move to Germany and they could have an experience where they feel better about paying for their health, like they felt like they could afford it, because 220 euros is not affordable for a lot of people for a healthcare visit as well. Not that the 2 million would be more affordable. I'm happy for them that they had this experience. I'm also sad for a lot of people that have expensive healthcare because it sucks. And as other comments also said here, the healthcare systems in Europe, in the Netherlands where I live, but also in Germany apparently, are not perfect. They are far from perfect. We have incredibly long waiting lists for anything. And we have this meme thing that if you go to your GP, they say just take the paracetamol and see how it goes. And it's just annoying because you most likely have already done that, but they do this because a lot of people have not done it. Like, they're sort of safeguarding the people that get sent to the hospital and to specialists. And it's kind of not so nice all the time, but at least it's affordable, and at least I can go to my GP fairly soon if I needed to. This is a happy girl dinner. It is called Finally Going Out with the Guy I've Wanted for 9.5 years. That is quite a long time. Whilst I just got home from my first date, technically we went out on many dates in 2017, with the guy I've had a will they won't they thing for nearly a decade. The timing was never right. I moved away for college, I was always in a relationship, etc. But I recently moved back to our hometown and I'm single. He's only 3 hours away. Again, I live in a very small country. In 3 hours you can cross the entire country. For me, that's very far away. Like, 3 hours is long distance in my country, and I've done that before in my life, and it was okay, I guess. I'm happy for this person, by the way. So we decided to give it a real shot. Went and saw the new Spider-Man movie. Excellent, by the way. I've seen it too. I loved it. And he held my hand, kissed my hair, rubbed my arms, all the cute shit. Then we went to his hotel room and got a little handsy. Exercise restrained here big time, and we laid there cuddling and talking for hours. He just drove me home, and I could not be more pleased with the date and excited about where this could go. It only took almost a decade, but it feels like things are finally falling into place for us. I'm just so damn excited and can't wait to see him again. Vanilla cupcake dinner because I'm too excited, full of nerves to eat a real meal. There is an edit. Thank you everyone for the kind words and well wishes. I loved reading y'all's comments about your similar relationship timelines and seeing what's possible. I'm trying to play it cool with him, so I appreciate getting to geek out here. So there are comments with similar stories. The first one is, girl, I know how you feel. My husband and I met in 8th grade in 1982 and bounced off each other for years. We started dating in 2005 and just celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. Love and luck to you both. Here's another one. OP, I'm so happy for you and that you finally get the chance to explore what you have been longing for so long. Your patience will be rewarded. Similar story for me, 29, and then my husband, 27. We got to know each other when we were 16 and 18, but we lived in different countries, so we started an online relationship. Without ever meeting each other face to face, we parted our ways and thinking this would never work because we were too young to travel such a distance for a person online. 7 years passed. We reconnected through the game we got to know each other through. It was as fun as it always used to be, and I told him, now I'm getting you a plane ticket and you're coming here pronto. And so we met. It was like we never lost touch of one another. We hit it off right away, like I have always known him. 1 year of flying back and forth with long distance relationship until I packed up all my stuff and drove off to a new adventure. We lived together for nearly 5 years now and just passed our 1 year marriage anniversary. I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. You go, girl. This is so great. I feel like this is sort of quite rare when you have liked each other for so long and then get together, because at some point I can imagine that the moment has just passed, that you're just friends now. When I was younger, I loved this show called Dance Academy. It's an Australian show about a dance academy. And there was this metaphor in the show about having two ladders, a friendship ladder and a friend ladder, and once you're on the one ladder, you cannot go to another one. So you cannot be friends with your exes, but also not date your friend. And I thought that was a good metaphor, and I thought that I agreed with that at first, but now I don't. I really don't think so. You just have to take a chance, I guess, which is hard. It's scary, but I love it that the person did that and that they had a great time on their date. It seems like there is a second date coming, so I'm happy for them. And this was a good happy girl dinner, even though eating more than a cupcake is good for you at dinner, I would say, but I get the feeling. This next girl dinner is called I Can't Believe It, and it's in the big win section and it has a cute cat, so of course we have to read it. Dinner is cold sauteed chicken nuggets, a baby ball, a suja juice shot, and unpictured half bottle of Aldi champagne. I've made it. Holy shit, I can't believe I've made it. In the early morning hours, just at 5 years ago, we got a call from the police asking us to be at a day 1 hearing where my sister-in-law was arrested and her 8-month-old son was taken into child services. We got handed an infant, and now 5 years later, I just sent him to kindergarten for the first day. I thought I was going to die so many times. I didn't totally bond with him for months, and I spent many mornings crying on the kitchen floor between when my husband went to work and before our nanny arrived. I worked from home for a few years with Titi, our nanny, in glorious co-worker camaraderie. She was and is a saint and an angel, and it always felt like she and I were in this together. It was pure tag team. Baby guy needed to bond with me, so I would just hold him when I wasn't in meetings and contact Nap even when I did have meetings, and she supported. Then I was able to quit my job, and it was just me and Mr. Babyman from the time when he was 3.5. We went everywhere together. He's been to Spain, Austria, Italy, New York City, Chicago, DC, and other regional places. He's a pretty good flyer. He also had some physical differences, so he spent a ton of time in PT, aqua therapy, etc. But he still learned to ski and swim. Today I can't believe we made it here. Even his bio mom is doing well and has regular visitation with him, and I'm so proud of her. Bio dad is not doing as well. He's currently incarcerated again, but I have hope for the future that they can at least meet. I just can't believe it. Added to add, we have full legal and physical custody, and his mom has visitation that used to be supervised, but we made the decision a while ago that she's in a place where she can have unsupervised. Dad has nothing, unfortunately. He calls us mommy and daddy, but is absolutely aware that he has a first mommy and daddy and that we are very committed to speaking well of them while being age appropriate as to why he lives with us and we are mommy and daddy too. Yes, he's in therapy when he needs it. Just getting ahead of the questions. This is just another person just to be proud of, because they're trying so hard to try their best and obviously had hard times just as the child did, because having your mom and dad incarcerated when you're that young can also just be very traumatizing to a child, even when you don't really realize what's happening yet. And they are trying so best, seemingly, to make the best life for him. So that just makes me very happy. And I'm also very happy that they're trying to keep the contact between the biological mom and dad, because that is important, depending, because sometimes that is just not possible. Someone in the comments says, I can't imagine getting a call one morning asking me to raise a kid out of the blue. That's so insanely difficult, and it's no surprise that you struggled to bond at first, but you did everything to build that, and it's impressive. I'm so glad this little guy had you and the chance for a stable life. Sounds like you're an amazing mama. So indeed, just being called out of the blue, being like, oh yeah, can you be at this hearing? Oh, here you have a child. And I'm sure they could have said no, but like most people just wouldn't do that, which makes a lot of sense because the foster care system is so abhorrent and there's so many nightmare stories. So I get that you want to be responsible for that yourself and nurture the child yourself and make sure it can have at least a decent life with without hopping houses all the time and everything, and it seems like they did a great job at that. So I'm happy for the child and for this parent. We do need to have some relationship drama in this video, I think, and this one is a sad girl dinner. He lied and cheated for 18 plus years. Sweet potato fries and a smash burger with bacon and fried onions and beer cheese. I barely tasted it. I hope it was because the beer cheese was pretty just not tasteful. I found out very recently while trying to help my husband that he had been lying to me since our first date. I feel a great mixture of anger, relief, sadness, betrayal and fear, and I feel this most of all for our children. From the very first date, my husband claimed to have a very intense military service, which included being in an elite group and being wounded in combat. He told me multiple fascinating stories about his adventures, and whenever we watched a movie about one of those groups, he always referred to we whenever he talked about them. He even showed me pictures from his time in the military. I know nobody who is in the military, but I find it a bit weird when you're watching a movie. It is implying that it's a fictional movie, because otherwise most people would call them a documentary, that you would call it we because they are fictional people and they can be based on real stories, but I would only say we if it was literally about your elite military unit. Otherwise, it's just a little bit weird and a little bit, forgive my word choice, but elitist, like you're better than everyone else because your group or a group like yours is part of the story of a movie. Like, that's a little bit weird. Well, we have been in a tough spot financially due to him, so I've been pushing him to get the benefits he deserves. He used to tell me that he didn't want them because he didn't feel like he deserved them. So humble. Yet you say we when there's a movie about an elite unit in the military. That's not humble at all, but okay. The story changed over the years to that he signed them away when he joined a different super selective elite group. I kept bringing it up and he would change the subject. So being the good wife I am and knowing that he's not great at paperwork, I decided to find his military paperwork and find the information for him. Instead, what I found was that he never passed basic training. I thought maybe there was an explanation, some error somehow. I reverse image searched the military photos he showed me years ago, which I had scanned to save on my computer to show our kids one day. They were plucked from all over the internet. They were from different military branches, different times, including some taken after we'd already been together. Once I found this out, all the red flags were suddenly obvious. He claimed to have been born in another country and have dual citizenship, and even had an accent when he started drinking. He has never even been to that country. His family has zero background there. I talked to family members. I finally started looking at bank statements. We keep most things separate, but both have access to the other's account. He lied about how much money he had received. He lied about loans he took out, and I know he's still lying about what he did with all the money. It's all in credit cards. He quit his job to start a new business, but instead sat around for months just spending money. Now he can't pay his bills or his part of our shared bills. I also recently caught him smoking after he had promised to quit, before we got married almost 14 years ago. I then found out he had been smoking pot secretly, not sure why. Many times he would be out later than he claimed. He assumed I was asleep when he got home. He would always need to clean his car before we went anywhere together. He didn't like riding in one vehicle as a family. That's also very weird. He'd frequently catch up in a separate vehicle for dinner out, for example. He didn't like me talking to his family members and even manufactured disharmony between us. When I confronted him finally, safely far away, I think that's a good choice here because he's lying so much, you really cannot know what to expect. He didn't try to deny any of it and admitted to cheating on me, all due to his alleged insecurities. Cheating is like the opposite of being insecure. I never cheated on him or hid anything. I supported him through a bad motorcycle wreck and a heart attack. Now I'm left feeling like the man I love died, and I'm left with some imposter I barely know. I told him he needs to leave, and thankfully he didn't fight me. I've barely slept in over a week. I've retained a lawyer who will draw up the separation. This whole guy's life that he told to you is a lie, and how can you be lying to someone for 18 years? How can you keep that up? And I guess the signs were there, but truly you don't want to see them when you love someone so bad and then you trust someone, so you don't see the signs, because whatever they do, they will be a good trustable person, right? They won't have their entire life being a lie that they told you. That's so incredibly bad. There's an edit. Thank you so much for the kindness and grace and some of the tough love. I wanted to provide a bit more context and add some things I incredibly forgot. First, the bad. My husband has never been super affectionate despite me being a very affectionate person. I've always wanted more cuddling, intimate touches, and he's never been able to give me that. He would get mad and complain that no matter what he did, it wasn't good enough. He never changed. I also kept asking him to contribute to the housework, cooking, etc. since we both worked full time. He would be better for about 2 weeks before falling back into barely participating. Like many men, he was never great at communication. That is not a man issue. Like, yes, we don't teach men that as much. Like, there is a fault in the system here due to patriarchy and we just having to do what men say, but there's also responsibility from the man here. Like, if your partner comes to you and is like, I don't like how we communicate, can we be more clear or be more open or whatever, you try to change that. You cannot just blame that onto his gender, I feel like. Now, this guy is obviously the problem. I'm not trying to blame this woman for anything.
Hi, editing Aiden here. It is 29 degrees Celsius. It's been an hour after post I would like my video to be uploaded, and I just now realized that the last 8 minutes of what I recorded did not have audio. I'm not going to re-record it. I will give you the summarized version because the video was already quite long. Next week I will have a script and a planning again because last week I was on vacation and that's why I didn't have a script. And that's why this was all a bit of a time crunch because it was a 2-day process. The summary is that this person had to get separated a year and a day for getting divorced in her state, which is incredibly weird and incredibly unfortunate, but I'm happy she got out at least, and I think we cannot blame her. However, there were signs and it's just incredibly bad, and I am just happy she got out eventually. I did like the r/girldinner subreddit, and I feel like this subreddit gets a lot of hate for being some kind of circle jerk group, but I don't think it is. I think it's genuinely great that people are just cheering each other on and trying to help each other as much. And can that go wrong sometimes? Probably yes. And can that be toxic sometimes? Probably yes, but so is everything on Reddit. And I think this subreddit is most of all very wholesome, a place for people to vent or for women to vent and to share things and also vent about happy things. And is there a lot of places on the internet where you can do that and get the attention that your happiness deserves, because you probably cannot share it with a lot of people in your life, obviously. So I love this subreddit. Thank you for watching. If you like my little video, please press the wonderful like and subscribe buttons, and then I will see you next time with a script. I promise. Goodbye.